Right.
when you get there.
You go, Jesus, what happened here?
Right.
Yeah.
You'll be confused. I experienced some of that because when Becky and I moved here, we had the persuasion in my heart hadn't fully been made conformable to the death I died with Christ, and so we kind of had this naive idea that we would come here and preach the gospel, and the church would grow in the way the world would describe the church growing. Yeah. And there was some moments where when that didn't look like it was happening, where we were like, "What the hell is going on?" Where we found ourselves just naked and ashamed. Yeah. You know, not naked and afraid, afraid and ashamed, but with no fig leaves, no trees to clothe ourselves, because I wasn't going to try to build anything. Yeah. And so if the thing wasn't going to be built, it wasn't going to be built by my hands. And so what happened in that moment was I felt great discontentment, I felt great lack, great confusion, but I knew enough about the cross that I started thinking about how I was crucified with Christ. And what it did was it brought salvation to my soul. It brought salvation to my thoughts. I stopped judging myself by the church growth. I stopped judging myself by all those things, and I died in my heart to the life I could get from the world through church growth, right? Yeah. There was still a part of me that thought success, validation, all these things are found in how it goes with the church and how I judge that it goes, you know? Mm-hmm. Don't forget about how it really goes. I mean, most of the time, our judgment about how things goes isn't how it really goes. I mean, you can see John the Baptist locked in prison, thinking that his whole ministry was a failure, that he blew it, that nothing good had happened. To the degree he's got his disciples go ask Jesus if he's the one, or shall we look for another one? My goodness, you know. And so, I mean, so in his mind, he's sitting there thinking his whole life and ministry is a failure. Yet he did exactly what he was supposed to do, and it went exactly how it was going to go, right? And the same thing with Paul. At the end of Paul's ministry, he had this revelation of the mystery that is Christ, and he knew that it was not incumbent, but he knew he had this passion, working with God's desire, that he was going to take this gospel and spread it across the earth. But I'm sure there was times at the beginning where Paul thought that meant he was just going to go and plant churches, and they would bam,
boom, right,
plant, bam, plant, bam. And then at the end of it all, he finds himself locked up in prison with really only Timothy and Titus that will listen to him. And so, was his ministry a failure? No. But there could be times along the way where you're judging your life from an unrighteous place. Yes. And you can make conclusions that just aren't true. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.